I am Reverend Mary Dunn, and I'm honored to be here with you this morning and glad that we are still open. So whether you're here with us or you're watching us via live stream, please know that we are sending you our love. We know that our Unity family is truly priceless. And I'm looking around, I don't think there are any new people because I see all the faces. I can see your faces. Yay! So, I will start with the announcements. Just a reminder that, again, we are still looking for a new church home. So if you are out and about and you see a facility, you see a building, someplace that would have equal space as this, please let Reverend Denise or Linda Thomas or any of the people that are on the board, you can write down the address and get it to us. We will be happy to follow up and see if it's a possibility. There are endless possibilities. I know the right and perfect space is out there, and I know when you're going to see it.
Amen.
Our prayer chaplain today is Jan Carnes. She's in the back there. So if you have prayers of gratitude or you just want to pray, she could probably pray with you back there, or if you want to walk, she could pray with you over there. Which way? It doesn't make any difference. I am serving today as board member, so if you have any questions about the board or about Unity Light of Grace, I will refer you to Reverend Denise. Today is Father's Day. So we'd like all people who are fathers, or those who have stood in and served as a father, because there could be women who've done that too, single moms served as fathers. We'd like for you to stand, please, because we want to give you our Unity blessing.
Okay. Bless you. Bless you.
All right, here we go. We love you. We bless you. And we truly appreciate you. We behold Christ in you. And thank you.
Thank you.
Please join me in saying our mission statement. If you have a bulletin, it's in there. Together, our mission is to provide a prosperous and loving community by connecting to God through prayer and following the teachings of Christ. Let's say that one more time, please. Our mission is to provide a prosperous and loving community by connecting to God through prayer and following the teachings of Christ. join me in affirming our opening statement? Together. In the silence, I feel my connection to God, and I can feel His living, loving presence in me. Let me say that one more time, please. In the silence, I feel my connection to God, and I can feel His loving, living presence in me. And we say, Father and Mother God, living, loving presence. We give thanks, Father, for all of the fathers, the grandfathers, the great-grandfathers, the men or the women who stood in their place, who stood there to provide encouragement, who stood there to provide strength, to give a positive word, to say, move on, be strong, be positive. We are grateful for those men in our lives and in our community, and we are grateful they continue to be with us. And we ask this and all blessings in the name and through the power of the living Christ. And so it is. Amen. Today's daily word is positive. My positive attitude colors my work. I am the master of my life and moods. I use affirmations and visualizations to generate the vibration and energy of powerful words and images. As I speak affirmative, enlivening statements, my attitude becomes more and more positive. I also visualize successful outcomes as I declare these statements of faith, reinforcing my positive focus. I am unlimited with the freedom of spirit. Now I envision that liberating energy within me. God in me is my source. I center myself in radiant light. I am greatly loved and freely loving. I see my heart expanding as I remind myself of the value of my precious self. Through this powerful imagery, I align with my new positive outlook. The spiritual being that I am guides my thoughts and feelings. Then our mouth was filled with laughter, and our tongue with shouts of joy. Psalm 126:2.
powerful songs this morning. If you don't realize how powerful you are now, I don't know what else I can do for you. That James song just sent chills up my spine. Surely the presence of the Lord is here. But it hasn't let me forget I got a joke to do this morning, so here we go. Mary's smiling already, I like that. All right, so there's this little girl on an airplane. And she's got the Bible, and she's just quietly reading the Bible. And there's this man who comes and sits right down beside her, and he sees that she's reading the Bible. And so he asks her what story she's reading, and she goes, well, I'm reading this story about Jonah and the well. And he goes, well, you know what? I really don't believe too much what the Bible has to say. And physically and scientifically, man cannot be swallowed by a whale. He goes, so what do you think about that? And she goes, well, I still believe that Jonah was inside the whale. And she goes, you know what? When I'm in heaven, I'm going to ask Jonah about the whale. And he goes, well, what happens if Jonah's not in heaven? And he goes, well, then you can ask him. Little kids, they say exactly what they want, you know. So yes, we're working together to get this feeling today of how powerful we are, how creative we are, right? Because we started this journey down the story of creation. And the story of creation is not a historical story. It is not a story of events that happened 6,000 years ago. It is an allegorical story that tells you about your soul. How your soul is created in you. And through that process of creating your own soul, you also get the steps of creation, of creating whatever it is you choose to desire. Now, of course, if you take this story literally, God creates man in his image, right? And then a few chapters later, there is no man to till the soil, that he has to breathe breath of air into the ground to get man. So you have to know this story is not a literal story. That this first creation story is about the creation of your soul and everything that God gives you in that creation. It's a story about you. So I want you to get connected to that. This creation story is a story about you. So we talked about last week, and I'm going to get through the whole entire story today. But in case you weren't here last week, we talked about the first step. God said, let there be light, and there was light. There was a void upon the earth. And God said, let there be light. That is the very first thing that you have become. You are a body of light. That is the truth of who you are. Jesus said, you are the light of the world, so let your light shine. Same thing in this first day of creation. You are the light. And of course, God separates the light from the darkness. So you're always given a choice whether you want to choose to believe in who you are or whether you choose to believe in the world of appearance, which is that place that is not always light. So we can separate the light from the darkness. That's who you are, a body of light. That's what God is, the body energy of light. So if you want to create something, guess where you got to start? Let there be light. Let me have that oneness with God. Let me feel that divine energy, that power that is within me. It is within each and every one of you. So then the second day, he talks about creating the firmament and creating the waters above the firmament and the waters below the firmament. And we discussed last week that this firmament is your faith. It is what we stand on. The firmament. And there's waters below, and there's waters above, and there's waters below. So you can take that water, which represents those infinite ideas, that potential, the divine substance, and you can either use those higher thoughts, spiritual thoughts, ideas to create and put your faith in, or you can choose the ones below. It's totally up to you. God's always given us free will. You can do what you want. So he created that day and he called it good. He calls all the days good. Then the third day, what is it he creates on the third day? It's gone. Let's see. And God said, let there be... Right. Oh yes. And then God said, let there be lights in the firmament and to the heaven, and to divide the day from the night, and let them be signs, and for seasons, and for days, and for years. And then God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. And he made the stars as well. So we talked about last week that this great light is the sun, and of course the lesser light is the moon. But metaphysically, this great light is your spiritual understanding, how you perceive the truth, because that's what you're going to create, right? How whatever you believe to be true, you're going to create in your life. Because we have the second light, which is the moon, which only has reflective light. It has no light of its own, which is not as powerful. And all it can do is execute what you believe in. It is your power of will, that power that executes what you're believing in. And you want these two things always working together, because you know what happens when we get stubborn, and when we get into that personal ego of ours, that belief that we're doing this all on our own, and that I have myself the power to create whatever it is, all by myself, and by golly, I'm going to do everything I can do to get this to happen. We're not using our will with our spiritual understanding. We're using our will with our personal ego. So I have the perfect example of this. I think I've heard it several times in Unity classes, so I will share it with you because it is a good example. So there's this young lady who wants to be married, right? And she knows about this creative process. So she's called forth the light. She believes with all her heart that she's going to find this man. She's found the man. She's laid eyes on him. And he is the one. He is the one. So every day she visualizes them together, what it would feel like, what it would be like. And she even says, this man didn't stand a chance because I was doing this, leaving God totally out of the picture. And lo and behold, they got married. And lo and behold, 6 months later, she was praying to get rid of him. Because she left out that critical part of spiritual understanding. That when you put your faith in your truth, in your principle, knowing that there's a right and perfect person out there for you, not claiming he's the one when you don't know that. The universe will bring him. And hopefully, if you're smart enough, you'll recognize him when he shows up. So we can use that power of will in a personal way to create chaos in our lives, just like she did. Or we can use it with our spiritual truth, to know that God will bring the right and perfect person, to know God will bring the right and perfect answer, to know God is our answer to everything. God overcomes everything. So that understanding of the truth and the will have to go together. Now there's also some things that we do with our will that's not fun. One being procrastination. How many times do we know the truth? How many times have we heard the guidance? That's, oh no, I'm not doing that. I gotta get outside my box to do that. My friends will make fun of me if I do that. I had a whole group of people that I used to work with that told me I was crazy to quit my job and start a church. So we can let that power of will, we can forget that we even have that power of will and procrastinate. And say, okay, well, I know I've got my spiritual understanding, I've received my intuition, but I'm not going to do it. It's too scary. I don't have the money to do that. I don't have the education to do that. I'm just going to stay in my little box where I'm comfortable. We have that choice. You have the choice to create those waters that are beneath the firmament. Be in that negative faith where you don't believe you can do anything. Or we can use our will to move forward. So you get that spiritual intuition, you get those spiritual ideas, and you've already been given the power of will to move forward with those. But you got to tap into it. You got to know you got the power. Just like in the song James sings, surely the presence of God is here right now in the middle of any situation that you're in. God is in the midst of it. God is in the midst of it. And we take time to be quiet, we'll hear that spiritual understanding that tells us the step to get through it. And we have the will and the power to move through it. But you got to connect with those items. You got to connect with that power that is within you. It's been given to you since the day your soul was created. So you know that you're the light. You know that gift of faith has been implanted in you, but how are you using it? Are you using it for the positive or are you using it for the negative? You can use it either way. And you have that spiritual understanding. You know the truth when you hear it. You do. It resonates in your heart. And you know the truth. The question is, will you use your power of will to move forward with it? Will you procrastinate? Will you write it off? And say, no, I'm too old to do this. I'm too whatever. I can't do what God wants me to do. Well, do you really want to die with your dreams still in you? That's my question today. I could have stayed an accountant. I could have had lots of money right now and probably done whatever I wanted to do. But I would have died with my dream right inside of me. Now, I don't want to do that. I don't know about you, but I don't want to do that. So I'm taking steps. I have my will, I have my spiritual understanding, and I'm moving forward. And I know you're moving forward with me. Because I got the most wonderful compliment last week. We had somebody new come, who's relatively new, come to church. And she told me, you know what, Denise? All the people that come to your church have this happy, radiant feel about them. She sees them and she just sees how happy they are. And she goes, you don't get that in every church. Most of the time there's grumpy old people there. I said, really? Well, that says a lot for our congregation, don't you think? That we've all recognized who we are. We all know the power that we are. We all know that the power and presence of God is right there within each one of us. We're letting that light shine whether we realize it or not. Someone new recognized it. We get used to it because we see it every time. And I can see it now. I can look out there. I can see this lovely group of people just shining their lights. So why don't we create our dreams with that light? Just like in this creation process. We've been given all the tools. So the next day, which is our new part to this story, is, let's see, the 5th day. And God said, let there be waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that have life and fowl, that they may fly above the earth in the open firmament of the heaven. And God created the whales and every living creature brought through abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl under his kind. And God saw that it was good, and God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let the fowl multiply on the earth. And the evening and the morning were the 5th day. So we're talking about that power of imagination again. That power that once you plant that seed of your spiritual understanding in this beautiful consciousness of light, every thought after that multiplies. Okay? Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind is what Unity believes. And that's where they get this. Everything produces after its kind. So if your first reaction to something is, God, how awful is this? Guess what? That's the seed you've planted. And every thought after that is going to reflect, God, how awful is this? So maybe we can just take a breath and change that little statement to, wow, this is terribly amazing. Terribly amazing. And then every thought after that follows, terribly amazing. So you plant the seed. You plant the seed with whatever thought you choose. And that thought multiplies. And you know this with worry, because once you get in that place of worry, you just go down that negative spiral, right? Well, the same is true with something positive. It's the same. If I want to say I am prosperous, then every thought after that will agree with, I am prosperous. And guess what? It has to manifest. Because we manifest from within to without. Just like in this creation story. Right now there is no world. There is no physical world. God is creating your soul in this story. Telling you, you plant the seed and everything else multiplies. It swarms to create that idea that you're wanting to create. You plant the seed, you attract everything it needs to manifest. Everything. That's what he's talking about on the 5th day. And then he says, and God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. Now you notice he's saying our in here, right? God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. So that was one of the very first questions I asked in Bible study. Who the heck is our? We're made after our image. Well, guess what? God is love and wisdom. So you are created. You have to have the male and the female energy. God created them, love and wisdom. That's who our is. That consciousness of love, that consciousness of wisdom. And it is when we have the love and the wisdom together that we create miracles. Because your thinking and your feeling are together. So when I say I am prosperous and I'm trying to create prosperity, but yet I still feel like I don't have enough, all I'm doing is creating chaos. Because my thoughts and my feelings are not on the same page. So God created them, love and wisdom, the female and the male. And we both have both those qualities within us, the love and the wisdom. So those are implanted in you. He created you after love and wisdom, because that's what he is. After our likeness. And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Do you hear that? That you have power and dominion over every little creeping thing on the earth. You have it, not somebody else, not the government, not your boss, not your spouse, not your kids. You. You have the power and the dominion to create and to be whoever you want to be. That power is right there within you. So claim it. Nobody can take it away from you. But you want to know what happens? Anytime we let somebody else upset us, somebody else gets in our way, somebody aggravates us, we just give them our power away. You give it right to them. Because you have been given the power and dominion to know who you are, to know that you are loved, to know that you are a divine child of God. So why would you let anyone else tell you any different, or even bother you because they've told you that you're something less than that, or accusing you of being something less than that? Why would you give them your power away? You should be, and I'm talking to myself as well, be able to stand in your truth and say, okay, if you choose to believe that, that's fine. But I know who I am. I know what I do. I know the power that is within me. So I'm choosing not to believe that. Because that's not who I am. So a good example of that is when I got divorced, my husband at the time sent a letter to my attorney telling me how I was involved in a church and how it was going to destroy the children and da-da-da-da-da. Well, you know what? That made me really mad. So mad, I took a plate and I smashed it on the ground. Because I was just so angry about it. But do you see how much power I gave away when I did that? I chose to let something somebody else said to get me out of my place of peace, to get me out of my oneness with God, and to let someone else make me feel like crap. No. We have to draw the line in the sand. Do you see how much easier it would have been if I'd have read that letter and said, you know what? This is not the truth. Just tore it up and threw it in the basket. Which I would do today. But I wasn't in the same place 10 years ago. I fell for it. He got me all riled up. How dare he write something like that? Oh my God. Now thankfully I didn't share that with my children. But it is. We give away our power. I could have stand in my power and said, no, this isn't true, and been done with it. So let's not give our power and dominion away to anybody. Just like the song says, surely the presence of the Lord is here. He created you as the light. God is the light. He created you as love and wisdom. God is love and wisdom. God is the truth, and He gave you the power of will to execute that truth. But He also gave you the choice to believe in the darkness. So, you've been given power and dominion over every little thing that creeps upon the earth. Everything. Not just some things. Everything. So God created man. Where am I? 2. I guess I don't have all the rest of it. But God created man, and He gave him the power and the dominion. So He next in the story, He gives Adam the power to name things. He gets the power to name what's a bird, what's a duck, whatever it is. So it's telling you in the story of creation that you have the power to name things. So if you want to name it bad, you can name it bad, and it's going to be bad. Or you can name it good, as God does in every step of this way. Every day is good. And it becomes good. So sometimes I think we believe God is like a genie in the bottle, right? This terrible thing has happened to me. God, please fix it. Well, one, what have you done? You've called it a terrible thing. And we said once we plant that seed, every thought after that will say, this is a terrible thing. Well, how can God be that genie in the bottle when you're not in a place of creating something amazing from what just happened? Right? You're calling it bad. Bad is what I'm calling this. Bad is what it will become. But as soon as I say, you know what? I'm going to learn something from this. Surely some blessing can come from this event. Then I've changed the way I'm thinking. Then I've replanted that seed. And every thought after that says, I'm going to learn something from this. God can create something good from this, which in every story in the Bible, every challenge has something good from it. So what do you want to do? Do you want to claim things good, or do you want to claim them bad? We can call them a terrible day, or we can call it a terribly amazing day, and see what happens. You call it terribly amazing, that seed will attract everything to create that. But I know I have a hard time doing it. I almost went there this morning. Annabelle was here to help me with my shoe, but my shoe had fallen apart. I thought, God, let's not start the day off this way. But you know what? I thought, I'll get through it. We'll just do whatever we have to do. Lo and behold, she comes with a way to staple it. We put some tape on it, all is well. But I could have gone down that road where I said, oh, my shoe, how am I going to walk? This is just going to be awful. No, I didn't go there. It takes practice. It does. It truly takes practice because we've not been trained to think that way. We've not been trained when something bad or appears to be bad happens. We've not been trained to say, no, God is here. Let there be light. I put my faith in the light. I use my imagination to see the good or to see it perfect. I use the truth and I use my will to move through it because I've been given the power and the dominion over everything. And whatever I name it, it becomes. Now, I called my divorce an awful thing before it even started. So, guess what? It took a year. It was not fun. It was awful, just as I had named it. But lo and behold, I could have called it good from day one. It's the best for not only me, but for everyone involved. I could have said this will happen in the grace and ease of God. I could have put all my principles of truth, knowing that God is in the midst of the situation, and maybe that letter would not even have gotten to my attorney that my ex-husband wrote. Maybe I would have created something different. But that's not where I was. And that's not where I went. And I gave all my power away. So I learned. And it's okay. We can give our power away. We can go through that experience that way. But if we learn from it, then we know how to handle the next challenge when it comes around. And I don't even like to call them challenges anymore. You know, we like to call them problems. Well, I changed problems to challenge, right? Well, no. Now I'm calling them opportunities. They're opportunities to know the power and presence of God. Opportunities. Do you see how that changes the whole thought process? Do you see how that changes what your power of imagination does just by calling a problem an opportunity? It is an opportunity to know God. It is an opportunity to say, let there be light. It's an opportunity for me to use my power of faith and to create something good out of it. To use my power and dominion. And your power comes from your voice. Your power comes from your voice. This is the power center. So be careful what you're saying. Like I said, I was telling my friends and everybody else, this is the most awful divorce. I can't believe it. Well, what else am I creating? I'm putting it out there. I'm using my power. I'm using my words and creating that exact experience. This is our power. When we speak with our emotion, with our truth, with our faith, we become very powerful people. You can create or change anything in your life. You've been given all the power to do it. The light. The light. That's who you are. That's your oneness with God. Your faith is powerful. Now, there's a lot of people who always tell me I have a lot of faith. And not so recently did I realize they're right. Because to me, if I'm afraid of something, which to me makes me feel like I don't have faith, but if I'm afraid of something, I normally will go ahead and do it anyway. I don't let fear stop me. And I didn't realize that that was really kind of what faith is all about. We don't let fear stop us. We just say, get out of my way, I'm doing this anyway. So yes, I did realize I do have a lot of faith. And if I can put that faith to work in a positive way, watch out, world, because we're going to be shaking it. I already got a room full of light people. I already have a room full of people who know they are the light, who have the faith, who have the power of imagination to change this world. So that's why we're here. That's why we're here. At this point, in this time, in this world, we are here to shine the light. We are here to transform the darkness into light. And we can do that. And we are doing that. And that's what's exciting. That is what is exciting. But we have to be careful how we're using our power. Because if we want to watch the news every day and say, oh God, did you hear about this? Isn't that what we did? Did we hear about the hurricane? Did we hear about all these negative things going on in the world? We're using that power and dominion that we have over every little creepy thing, and we're squashing it. We're just squashing it. When we could just say, you know, today is another amazing day. Today is another day where God is in the midst of every situation. Today is a day where I say, let there be light, and there is light. There is light. So why not try it? Why not take our will and get it out of procrastination mode and move with it? Put some feet on it. Start living the truth. Start talking the truth. Somebody wants to tell you how awful things are. Say, no, you can choose to believe that, but this is what I believe. And who knows, you might plant a seed that they might just pick up on, and they might just take off with it. So on the seventh day, God rests. Now, do you really think God got tired and had to take a rest because he was just so tired? I don't think so. It's that last step, and it's the last step that we all have a tendency to not follow. Because we're in this creation process and we don't yet see what it is that we're wanting to create. We don't yet see it. So we got to pull it back and take control over it again. We don't rest. We don't surrender it over and let the universe create through us. There's a difference between having will and being willing to let God create through you. So that last step is very important. That we may not see exactly what we want to see, or maybe we got tunnel vision. Maybe it's there and we don't even see it because we're just so determined that this is what it's going to look like. So this last day is to let go, surrender, rest, and know that it's happening. Know That happens with your wisdom, not with your intellect, not with your ego. That part of you that is the wisdom and the intuitive part of you that just knows. I'm working on creating this. Maybe it's a cookbook. I don't know. But you got to know and see the cookbook already done. Whatever it is you're trying to create, see it done and know it's done. No matter what challenge is showing up, no matter what opportunity is showing up to see God, you have to know in your heart that it's done. And you rest. You rest. And you allow it to happen. Just like Moses departing the Red Sea. Here they are, stuck. Red Sea, Pharaoh's chariots behind them. Oh my God, what do we do? He had to say, let there be light. God is there. He had to let his faith know that they would get across. He used his power of imagination to put the rod in the water. The water went, we know the story, and they get across safely. And not only do they get across safely, all the people behind them are drowned in the water. So even when it looks like things are not working for you, we still have to know God is in the midst of it. God is there. I realize I've gone way over, so I'm going to be quiet now. So let's take this time for prayer meditation. Get off my soapbox. Just take a deep breath. Almighty God, we say, let there be light. Let there be light. Let me feel your power, your presence right here, right now. Let me feel that presence, that energy, the love, the wisdom that is right here within my own soul. Knowing that I have been given the power, the dominion, the authority to name all things. And today we name them all good. So we just feel, we can feel that energy that says, yes, my child, I am here. I am here right in the midst of every opportunity. I am here to show you the way. I am here to heal whatever you need healed. I am here to create whatever you choose to create. So we take this opportunity to just take our fingers off of everything and go to that seventh day of rest. And just know that God is here. Surely the presence of God is here. Lifting us all up. Allowing us to create something new, something better. Allowing us to create heaven on earth. So we take this wonderful feeling of the light into the silence, where we say, let there be light, and there is light. So let yourself become aware of your surroundings and wrap all that light under the soles of your feet so you're grounded to Mother Earth. Whenever you're ready, open your eyes and always remember of all the powers that have been created within you to create whatever your heart's desire is. And whenever those opportunities show up to know God, we just say, let there be light. We know it is done in the name and through the power of the living Christ. Amen.